So, have you ever had that feeling like your job is just a means to an end? You know, just a temporary stop on your way to something better? Well, today we're going to dive into a philosophy that completely flips that idea on its head. And honestly, it might just change the way you think about your 9 to 5 for good. So, let's just start with this question because it's something a lot of us grapple with. The job you're in right now, is that your career? Is it the destination? Or is it really just a checkpoint on a much, much longer journey? It's pretty much become the new normal to see our jobs this way, as temporary stepping stones. In fact, a lot of people think job hopping is the smartest way to get experience and move up. But there's a hidden problem with this, a kind of cycle that can end up trapping both you and your employer. And that brings us to our first big idea, the stepping stone job. This is really at the heart of the whole modern dilemma. It's a cycle of short-term thinking that, frankly, affects everybody. And you can see how this cycle works, right? We start seeing our jobs as these temporary gigs. The plan is to get what we can and then bounce to the next better thing. Well, guess what? Employers pick up on that. They start seeing us the same way, not as long-term partners to invest in, but as short-term assets. It kind of becomes this self-fulfilling prophecy where nobody's really all in. So, how do we break out of this loop? Well, the idea we're exploring today suggests a really powerful way to reframe things. What if, instead of a temporary stop, you started seeing your workplace as a kind of school? Okay, so check this out. You've got two completely different ways of looking at your job. On the left, it's just a transaction, right? A labor exchange. You give your time, they give you money. The focus is all on salary and benefits. But look at the right side. This is the social school idea. It's not transactional, it's developmental. Here you're trading your time for growth. It's not just a place to do a task, it's a place to learn and to become something more. So what is a social school? At its core, it's the idea that your workplace isn't just a place to earn a living. It's this incredibly rich environment that society has kind of set up for you to learn in. Every project, every meeting, even that coworker who drives you nuts, it's all part of the curriculum. It's all there to help you develop. All right, so if the workplace is a school, then who's the teacher? Well, the idea is that the environment itself is your teacher. But here's the catch. Whether or not you actually learn anything, well, that comes down entirely to your mindset. And this quote, wow, this really hits it home. What it's saying is that your growth doesn't depend on having the perfect job or the perfect boss. Not at all. Even if your workplace feels like a total mess, a ruin, it can still be a place of incredible learning if you approach it with the right attitude. And really, this is the choice we all get to make every day. On the left, you've got the complaining mindset. You blame everything around you, you focus on all the flaws. And you know what happens? You get stuck. Your growth just grinds to a halt. But the mindset on the right, that one accepts the environment, warts and all, and it actively looks for the lesson in everything. That right there is the key that unlocks some serious, rapid growth. And here's where it gets really powerful. This applies to the negative stuff too. Let's say you see something totally inefficient or unfair at work. The lesson isn't just to get mad and complain. The lesson is to observe it, to really understand it, and to think, okay, so this is how things are right now. What does this teach me about what society needs to fix? That observation becomes your knowledge. It prepares you to be the one who can actually solve the problem. Okay, so for this last part, let's talk about how to pull all this together. Because it's not just about passively learning from your school. It's about taking that knowledge and actively creating something with it. This is the big shift. The old way was maybe about begging for a promotion or waiting for someone else to give you a chance. This new way of thinking says no, forget that. The focus now is on you building your own value, piece by piece, based on everything you've learned. It's about taking the lessons from your social school and turning them into something real. So how do you actually do that? Well, here are some really concrete steps. First, consolidate what you're learning, get it organized. You can even use tools like AI to help you structure your thoughts. Second, take those insights and produce something tangible. Maybe you write a series of blog posts, a detailed report, or even a short book. And third, promote yourself by sharing what you've made. This is how you start building a real personal brand based on what you actually know. And listen, this doesn't have to be some huge, intimidating project. The suggestion is to start small. I mean, maybe you self-publish just 200 copies of a short book. The goal isn't to become a bestseller overnight. The goal is to change how you see yourself. Because when you hand that book to someone in your network, you're not just a temporary employee anymore. You're a creator. You're an expert. You're someone who creates real value. So we'll leave you with this question. Instead of seeing your job as just another stepping stone, try seeing it as your own personal school. What is it teaching you right now? Not just in your big wins, but in your daily tasks, your biggest challenges, and yeah, even in your frustrations. Figuring that out, that's the first real step to becoming a creator.